This is going to be Stratholme main gate as a fire mage. Level 42. I don't think this was too long after the Uldaman I just showed with this character. Couple of interesting things happened during this run. It was a cool one. Maghark Warrior, Orc Monk, Tauren Druid, Blood Elf Hunter. Okay, so we got a Mistweaver, Protection Warrior, me, and 2 others. Somebody has an interrupt announce. You'll be seeing that a lot. Let's see. Fire Blast at this point still has only 1 charge. That's sad. It gets a lot more fun when it gets more. Alright, so right, I have Firestarter, I have Dragon's Breath, I have a lot of my toolkit. I have Shimmer, and I have Counterspell. That's going to see a lot of use here in this dungeon. This is a place where Counterspell really shines alongside the service entrance, both wings of Stratholme. Bring a mage with Counterspell to them, who knows how to use it, and you'll have a much easier time. Because yeah, so watch like that Skeletal Guardian there with the Shadow Bolt. He's going to stand there at his initial position and not group up with all the rest of the monsters and be just a total pest. You know, if the tank doesn't pay enough attention, all those Shadow Bolts are going to be going toward the healer. But with the Counterspell, I can make him unable to cast Shadow Bolt and just have to run in with all of his friends and get picked up normally. So yeah, ranged interrupt is pretty amazing here. Melee interrupt can do the same, but then you have to actually walk over and do the thing to him. So yeah, this is an ideal job for a mage. Yep, there's one there. Let's see if I pick it up. I guess I didn't notice there was a Shadow Bolter in this group. Or maybe... Yeah, Spectacles. This was a particularly expert warrior. I remember her being just, like, incredible at her job. Like, one of the best that I've played with. I mean, I'm kind of overselling it, but, you know, an extremely competent player. Knows exactly what she's doing, very on the ball. Knows how to use line of sight to pull around corners for stuff like that. So even if I wasn't there, she would have been fine. But, you know, I can contribute just that little bit of extra and get those casters to cooperatively come to where she is. Use that counterspell. Oh, right. The only problem with that, though, is they know 2 schools of magic. So if I lock them out of shadow magic... they'll just switch to frost sometimes. Okay, so that's not as perfect as I thought. It works sometimes. For some of them, I think they only know 1. I was curious about this crate, so I opened it. It had holy water in it. I thought I remembered the holy water being part of the service entrance quests, but I guess that's here. She's a fast mover. Not really waiting around for stuff. Charging ahead confidently. I do have Flame Shield at this point. I'm not keeping it up. I'm not, like, taking a lot of damage or anything, but it's a good idea to keep it active whenever I can. Because I was taking some damage there. Oh, hey, Combustion. Is that new? No, I talked about that before. Right. I don't know if we'll see it get used here, but I do have it. Well, I'm sure we will once boss fights happen. I do not yet have... What is it? Rune of Power? I think that's what it's called. Rune of something. That'll replace my mount button all of the way on the right. When I get it. Makes things kind of complicated, but it's a nice damage boost. Stratholme Courier, right, okay, so this one is part of the tobacco quest somehow. I never really understood the flow of this quest. You go around and interact with objects, and somehow that results in a chain of events that gets this premium tobacco quest done. Premium Siabi tobacco. Or, okay, so you open this. It's not in there. That summons Frasiabi there. And I guess you get it from him? Okay, is that all there is to it? There's something with the mail here. Postmaster Malone is another optional boss in here. Will we be fighting him? Maybe. You have to interact with at least, I think, multiple mailboxes in here to get him to show up. I don't know, it's confusing. Classic dungeons were like this. Had a lot of obscure stuff like this. Blackrock Depths was kind of the pinnacle of that stuff, but you don't really see it in its full glory anymore, sadly. Is this a gate that closes? Yeah, okay. She was waiting around for everybody to show up here. Now, I was planning to do a hardcast Flame Strike. It actually kind of made sense in that situation. Dragon's Breath would have been better. It was off cooldown by the time that Flame Strike cast. And maybe before. Yeah, Dragon's Breath would have been the way to go there. So as a Fire Mage, if I don't have a target to start a fire with, there's only so much that I can do to quickly do damage to multiple targets. I think Mastery is going to help out with that some at level 78, but like, a hardcast Flame Strike has a really long cast time on it, and Dragon's Breath has a significant cooldown before I can use it again. So if I'm in a situation with many targets with very little health, I kind of struggle a little bit, because I have to get a Fireball cast off to get an opportunity for a hot streak, so that I can get an instant Flame Strike. Other than that, if Dragon's Breath is on cooldown, then I'm just doing basically nothing. Yeah, so large amount of very low health enemies that the rest of the party is killing quicker than I can get a Fireball or Scorch off. It's pretty much the least ideal case for me as a Fire Mage. Fortunately, that's a situation that doesn't happen too often. But yeah, that little rat gauntlet there is one area where it's kind of like that. So one of the few situations where a hardcast Flame Strike seems like it makes sense. A lot of moving around is happening. Why were these two dragged all the way back here? I'm not sure what's special about this spot. This is kind of backward from where we wanted to be. I guess you had a plan. Oh, maybe was moving those out of range of some patrolling monsters or something. I don't know. Hearthsinger Forreston. Okay, so he's a silver dude. Hey, that's rude. Didn't even notice him there. So yellow name, neutral until attacked first. So he won't start the combat. We have to do it with him. Just like a bonus mini-boss here. I'll have to keep that in mind for when I'm the dungeon leader through here. Yeah, I need to study this place more closely because I'm super less familiar with this than Service Entrance to Stratholme. I don't know why. Like, I feel like I've run this probably about the same number of times as that one. It's just... This is one of those places like Auchenai Crypts that just doesn't stick in my memory for some reason. It just gets all muddled up with Service Entrance, and that's where all my memories go for whatever reason. Yeah, here's a mailbox that I'm standing right next to here. I'm probably going to interact with it as soon as combat is over. Am I? Maybe? Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I did it. So I summoned that undead postman there while an encounter was going on here. With a different group, this wouldn't have been the greatest of ideas, but like, this group was pretty coordinated and on the ball. So I can get away with adding some more combat participants. Just gotta feel out the group for whether that sort of thing would be appropriate or not. I usually don't do stuff like that, but you know, nobody else was opening that post box. I wanted to. It was tempting. So that was not Postmaster Malone. That was just an undead postman. Yeah, so I think you have to interact with multiple... Okay, so she took whatever was in that mailbox. I guess only one person gets to harvest the mail. I don't know. Oh yeah, there's a quest over there. This was during... What's it called? The Lunar Festival? That's not what it's called. Is it? Lunar Festival. Why does that sound wrong? Anyway, the one that happens in January, the holiday event. There are special quest dudes you can find in dungeons that give you a little holiday bonus. It's not part of the dungeon there, so that quest there was, you know, I mean, it's part of the dungeon, but it's not a regular part of it. Anyway, don't worry about it. Hey, there's combustion. So I'm on fire. All of my fireballs and pyroblasts land critical strikes, so I get lots of hot streaks. It's nice. Sure doesn't last, though. It's so short. 10 seconds is just over before you know it. I'm noticing a lot of effects now. Especially like tank defensives last like 4 seconds, 6 seconds. It's like so short, it's just real hard to know when to use them. I'm kind of struggling with just like how quick some of the temporary boosts are. I don't know, my memory tell me that they used to be longer. Maybe maybe those are false memories, but I don't know. I feel like I expect things like combustion and, you know, shield block as a warrior, stuff like that to last longer than it does, but just gotta deal with super short durations. Use things immediately before they're needed and expect not to have them for long. So she's doing this carefully, getting small groups at a time. Why did I counterspell there? That must have been a misfire. I was aiming for the 5 key and I also hit the 6 key at the same time. Whoopsie! So I'm pretty sure there wasn't a spell being cast there that I interrupted. Unless there was and I just missed it. They sure do interrupt me though. So I should stand a little farther away if I can. I see you there, so I'm trying to interrupt that one. There, I did it. But it just switched from fire to ice and kept on casting. So you need multiple interrupts to get that one to cooperatively come to a different place. I wonder if any class has multiple hard interrupts. I don't know if they do. They might. Everybody's spread out. It's hard to know what to do. Things are moving around a lot. Dragon's Breath, always a good choice. I think even on single target it's decent. Though multi-target is obviously where it really shines. Dragon's Breath makes me want to stand close, which means I get interrupted more often. Because most of the enemy interrupts seem to be in melee range. They like long melee range though. I don't have to stand particularly close to get interrupted. It's hard to get a feel for the... I have trouble getting a feel for the range of Dragon's Breath. It goes a lot further than it looks like it would. Like, from here, I would definitely get that entire group. I could even stand a little farther back and still hit them with it, but... I don't know, like, it lists its range in number of yards, but, you know, what's a yard? How do I tell? There isn't a... I can't, like, overlay a measuring grid on the ground or anything to know how far away anything is. It's just hard to judge. And yeah, since Dragon's Breath will go off without a target, it's not one that, like, I can watch whether it's, you know, there's a red light or a white light telling me whether I can cast it or not. It's just... it goes, and either it hits or it doesn't. I have no warning beforehand of what it's going to do. Just have to judge for myself. Yeah, so like the little 1 on my fireball, for example, would turn red if I were targeting something that was more than, I think it's 40 yards for fireball. So I can tell how far away 40 yards is just by when the text changes color. The mages here are doing things to me that I might do to them. You probably don't see me use Frost Nova very often. It's my my number 0 ability. I rarely find it useful here, usually when stuff is going wrong and things are directly attacking me in melee, and I want to get away and survive. So I'll cast Frost Nova and walk away from me so that they can't, they get rooted to the ground and can't reach me to kill me. But yeah, it's kind of like an emergency. Stuff's going wrong, maybe I can survive a bit longer if I hit this button. Not really used in my normal rotation. Hey, I used it there. Why? I think maybe just because they were doing it to me, so I felt like doing it to them. Well, that's what it looks like. These are all casters, well, the guardsman's not. Oh, it could have maybe prevented the guardsman from charging around at all the other party members, because she was doing that. Okay, so it might have had some... That might have been more than just, like, because I felt like it's there. Okay, so left turn off the red carpet hall to get to Commander Malor. Oh, healer disconnected, that's right, that's when this happens. So yeah, Spectacles goes down. Because we don't have a healer anymore. We lost our Mistweaver to connectivity. The Hunter here was very prepared. Hunter pets can be set to taunt, I think, and kind of act as a tank when you need one. Pet died. Pet is back. Yeah, she has a backup plan. Man, this is a really good group. And now the Balanced Druid here is picking up on the heels. Wow! Everybody is so prepared for, like, everything here. Man, this is, like, just an incredibly coordinated group. I'm kind of impressed. Spectacles, I guess, managed to... No, Balanced Druid got a Resurrection in, because Druids can cast their Resurrection spell in combat. Right. Yeah, man, that was... Wow. That was some good improvising. What a great group. Everybody had a plan. Alright, so this healer has been offline for a fair bit of that encounter. You know, that can happen for a lot of different reasons. Happened right in the middle of the dungeon, so almost certainly was not intentional. So when a party member goes offline like this, my usual policy is to, you know, wait for them for a little while and see if they come back. Some people will just initiate a vote to kick just instantly, like as soon as they see somebody offline. Oh, they're offline, better get another one. But yeah, everybody here seemed to be on the same page and have the same plan. I will be the one who ends up initiating the vote to kick here, just because, you know, we waited long enough. They're probably not coming back if it's been like a minute and a half, plus however long we were in that encounter. So yeah, I decide it's time to initiate a vote kick. This can be done for a lot of different reasons, but you know, for misbehaving party members, for somebody that somebody just doesn't like for some reason. So I think the mechanics of voting to kick are that one person initiates it and puts in a reason that everybody else except the voted party member sees. Then they, so those three, the three who did not initiate and are not the kick target, get to click yes or no. What I'm not sure of is whether one no will make the vote fail, or if it's just a simple majority, where like the person who's being kicked would count as an automatic no vote. The person who voted, who initiated the kick, will be counted as an automatic yes. But I don't know if it's simple majority or if it has to be unanimous. But anyway, so if enough people click yes, then that person is removed from the group, and we can queue up for a new one. So we got a new healer here. Is that a priest? Kind of looks priesty to me. I think that's a holy priest. Or is that discipline? Alright, so now I gotta puzzle out what kind of healer this is. Did I roll over his name? Yeah, okay, it is a priest. Let's watch for penance or, like, power word shield. Those would be discipline things. Holy fire, I think that's a holy thing. Okay, so that seems to be a holy priest as far as I can tell. Yeah, definitely doesn't look like discipline. Okay. So that's what we got for just the last little bit of this dungeon. Also a perfectly competent player. We don't get to see him tested as much as the rest because there's not a whole lot of dungeon left. There's a bit. This part of it goes on for some amount of time. Anyway, yeah. So you know, I don't like to vote to kick party members. I always prefer to just try to get the dungeon done. But every once in a while, you know, if you get somebody who's like really misbehaving, and I don't know, I try to make a judgment call sometimes. Like, are we more likely to get the dungeon done if we stick with this person or if we remove them? If it's not somebody who's offline. Obviously, if it's a healer who's offline, we're a lot more likely to get it done if we replace them. But my preference is always to keep the person in the party and keep it going. I don't like to kick, but sometimes it's necessary. Tempers can flare up in this game like really quickly, you know. Just the smallest thing goes wrong, and the wrong kind of player will just instantly start cussing out other party members for perceived flaws. And as soon as that starts happening, usually, you know, sometimes you can come back from it, but usually, like, the run is lost or the party composition has to change after that point. Like, because once tempers start flaring up, the interest in just getting the dungeon done with everybody else seems to go down a lot. I mean, sometimes also you can just get away from it, get away with ignoring those party members if they're not the tank or the healer, and just doing it despite their presence. But that puts a big damper on the mood of everybody there, and it's often better just to kick them out and get a better one if they're going to be uncooperative for the whole time. But fortunately, I see that fairly uncommonly. It's happened like 3 times of the, you know, many dungeons that I've run this time I've been in the game. I still have the feeling that sort of thing happened a lot more 8 years ago last time I played this actively. It seems rarer these days. Not gone, but rarer. And I'm very glad of that. Is there some kind of weird event with cannons that happens here? Yeah, there are the cannons. Willy Hopebreaker. I don't understand this encounter. I need to research this some more. There are cannonballs in the back that you can interact with. Pick them up and put them in those cannons. If I were to look behind me, I would see some, risen riflemen coming up. I guess shooting at us from that position. So Mr. Priest there is picking up the cannonballs and putting them into the cannon. I think I tried to participate in that just to see what it's like. So I got a cannonball. I shot it at nothing because nothing was there. Okay, so I totally wasted that cannonball because I didn't know what was going on. Alright, so yeah, I guess just like the extra riflemen are going to sit there and shoot at you, contribute some extra damage, and you can use the cannonballs to stop that from happening. Okay. That's not that complicated. And I guess you just hope that the encounter is over before you run out of cannonballs and riflemen overwhelm you. There we go. And any that were over there either disappeared or had already died from somebody else picking them up. Alright, and I think we're almost done here. Oh, this guy is at the end of like a long hallway that just leads to him. Okay. So like a super fortified spot. Make your last stand with the cannons there. Except we're the ones who end up using the cannons, not the actual cannon owners. Yeah, I'm always surprised how long this place is. It just goes on for longer than I expect, always. There's still a bunch left. I think only 1 or 2 bosses, probably just 1 more. Whoa, that's not where I wanted to blink to. I was trying to get closer for Dragon's Breath, but I misjudged pretty badly there. Whoops. Alright, I think I see the end coming up here. Oh, doing one of those. Oh, and I'm... So I let that fireball go off. I would have thought I would have interrupted it and run to where Spectacles was standing. I guess I was okay with the risk. Everything worked fine. I moved to the spot where I needed to be immediately after. But theoretically it would have been better to interrupt that fireball and wait. Just to make sure everybody went to the right place. Also, oh, my counterspell was on cooldown. I couldn't interrupt that polymorph. But yeah, he'd lose a sheep for a moment. Can't cast any spells. Looks like it's a short polymorph, so not too much to worry about. I can do that to enemies. That's a mage ability. It's not very relevant in classic dungeons. Like, there aren't a lot of situations where you really need one enemy taken out of combat to be able to survive. That sort of thing starts happening right around Cataclysm or so. But yeah, more of a tool for when things are tuned a bit harder, and or you have a more coordinated group. Because the rest of your group members kind of need to know what you're doing with stuff like that. Yeah, any crowd control effects like that tend to all work like... You cast them, and the thing that gets polymorphed or paralyzed or rooted or whatever can't act for a while. You know, they have a pretty good duration, like a minute or so. But any damage to them will break the effect. So if everybody's just attacking everything, then polymorph will go off and just immediately stop being relevant because attacks will go out. So yeah, stuff that takes some coordination to use. Wordless coordination can happen. I mean, with a group like this, everybody here is super competent. I'm sure we could pull off stuff like that if we needed to, but it's not necessary here. Alright, last room here. Dreadlord Balazar, I think. Oh, right, and also this side room first. The Dreadlord Balazar. It's been on my screen this whole time. Okay. Not hard to remember. What's this flame tornado you're doing to Spectacles here? You also have a Pyroblast. It's not interruptible. That one has a shield around it. That wasn't Pyroblast, that was Blast Wave. Those are different spells. What? Okay, Burning Winds. Looks like she's incapacitated while that's happening. So hang on, let's see if this Pyroblast looks like a Pyroblast. Oh, it didn't happen. She went around the corner so he couldn't cast it. Oh, nice. Oh, that's so good. Poor guy has to charge up his entire cast bar, but when she's out of line of sight at the end of it, it doesn't go off. Oh man, this warrior is so good. Those are all the tricks of the trade. My combustion is on cooldown. Did I use it for that dude over there? What was his name? I forgot already. The one whose name was not up on my screen for this whole run. Oh no, I'm charmed. How annoying. One particularly annoying thing about being charmed is often my charmed character will decide to use their abilities that have long cooldowns. Like, I'm sure if my combustion had been up, it would have wasted it for me there, and then it wouldn't be available to me to use. Right about when it's about to be here. Let's see if I notice if it comes off cooldown and actually use it. I do! There we go, combustion. Let's see if I get mind controlled immediately. No, I get slept. And charmed. Yes. Fantastic. Well, at least it's both of those at the same time. Alright, there we go. Man, what a great run that was. What a great party that was. That's why the run was so good. Wow. Alright, all quests done. Good stuff. Oh wait, no, there's one more. Do I say anything to them as I leave? Any emotes? Anything? I guess not. Well, I'm expressing my appreciation now, even if I didn't in the group. That was a good group. See you next time.